most often than not, at some point, when a man watches the transformation in his own wife, at some point she, in her feminine energy, inspires him to look for help. Because I think where women are at right now is, I will say that with love, but if you are a man and if you are emotionally unavailable, we are not doing that anymore.
Ladies, we're done blaming men. And I don't know about y'all, but I want a man. I don't want to ride this rodeo alone anymore. I want a man. And I have noticed, it seems like me and my friends, y'all are my friends, okay? Me and my friends, we communicate a little bit differently. We seem to have a little bit different barriers. Like I keep looking at other women and I'm like, they have found this and made it simple. We have indeed made it difficult. And let me define we for a minute. We as in me.
Who are we?
We as in me and my friends. We as in women that are, and let me be very clear that I am not saying better. I'm not saying better. I am saying women that have chose to have and want all the things. Unfortunately, all at once. Like we want children and booming businesses, and we are hyper independent for whatever reason, whether we were raised that way, our trauma, that's our response, our survival, whatever that may be. Women have their reasons. Just chugging along, pushing it for whether it be more money, more freedom, power, authority, for whatever reason it is. We all have our reasons, right? No judgment here. I cannot stop seeing across the board that those types of women, myself included, seem to have more difficulty, or at least difficulty communicating and in dating and in their long-term relationships. They have trouble. They have more trouble than most. And I think, actually, I wouldn't say more trouble than most. I would just say, I think we're all in an evolution process of trying to figure out. And I know women are getting divorced at alarming numbers right now that I happen to know that are in the space of having and doing more. And again, on this show, we're not man bashing. We are not talking about men. We cannot control men. We don't know what they need to do. That's their business. Let them handle it. What our business is how can we as women open up more to transformation and change so that we can have the love and the connections that we so intimately desire. And before you answer that, you do desire love. Let's be clear. You might not in this season. I get it. But we all desire love and connection. I know we don't want to be alone. And so what are some of the things you see in coaching so many incredible, empowering movers and shakers that are women that are also trying to navigate marriage, love, and dating?
I'm going to slow down before I even answer this question, because there are so many elements and layers, I think, to that question. First of all, the way we navigate relationships has changed so much in the last 150 years.
Yes.
That's first thing. And what we as women can provide for ourselves when we are single, when we are married, has changed so much.
Yes.
So much. The role of the relationship shifted enormously.
Yes.
What we expect of our partners.
Correct.
We have the whole list. We have to-do list of what we are looking for. We are almost in a society, living in a society where we evaluate partners as a product, and we evaluate ourselves as a product, and we are constantly finding what can be better. And we live in a world full of choices at our hands. If you are single, you can go to an app and you can swipe each way you want. So there is so much choice. There is so much just availability of different types of men that you can connect with when you are single. And you have now a long expectation list of what you are looking for, where marriage before used to be for financial reasons, for reasons to raise children, and women were not working.
Protect, provide, and pleasure.
Yes, provide and pleasure. Now we can provide for ourselves. We can experience pleasure even
By ourselves.
Correct. And nothing wrong with that. And we can also protect ourselves in so many ways as women right now. Correct. So as women have shifted, men are trying to figure out what is the role of a man. Yes,
where do I
we
fit
are
into
both
all
in
of
this
this
dynamic of change. So right. And also all of us come with different blueprints, as we, spoken about this before. We all have different blueprints. So if you have been raised in a household where the mother was dependent on the dad and she was not providing, and then you've noticed there was lack of choice and she had to stay because there was lack of options, you might, if you are a high achiever, take it upon yourself that you have plenty of choice, that you have enough financial wealth to support yourself to leave or stay or have choice within the relationship, right? If you have seen your mother being mistreated or, as I said, having less choice, you become hyper independent. But you might have been raised by a dad that wanted you to be hyper independent.
Yes. I know a lot of women like that.
Even though your mom was more dependent on him, he wants you as his daughter to be more independent.
Yes.
And he has high expectations of you. So we come from different backgrounds as high achievers, different reasons for why we navigate the world and relationships in the way we do. And at the same time, what I see is the same challenges with high achieving women, meaning I am so great at my career or in my business. I'm elevating, I'm growing, but I'm experiencing high level of anxiousness or high level of disconnections in relationships. For single women, it may look like I am attracting all the wrong type of men that are very avoidant. In marriages or in relationships, what I see with high achieving women, try to
This is about to be a come to Jesus.
How to say
moment.
that? Yes, assert ourselves in ways where we almost overpower men.
Tell
we
them what
try
to
to
do.
overpower men, tell them what to do. We are very easy to criticize and point out what is not working or what they are not doing enough of.
That's been
us.
a joke for a long time where women will be like, you need to train him.
Yes, you need to train him. There is even
He's
a book
trainable.
on. Yes, there was even a book on Amazon. I don't remember the title, but there was a woman with a man on a leash, like a dog. It was a title, something in that manner of how to train a man. So the way we perceive men, how we saw our mothers, if our mothers were naggers or complainers or they were passive aggressive because they didn't know how to communicate assertively, we take on the same patterns of communication. So we become assertive. We just do jab, 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 or very aggressive communication, very straightforward, but not assertive. And so we can find ourselves being with the right type of man by our side, but still sabotaging the whole relationship because we are unable to see our own patterns and our own habits and our own limitations of women, as women of power and influence.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to, I love throwing myself under the bus for this. So one of the things I learned in my process working with Ludmila for years is this thing she's talking about, which is like a map. Like it's something that you get from your mother and your dad or both. And I'm listening to this and I'm like, this all makes so much sense. Because what I realized, one of the things about me was my map was victimization. And it's not to say anything about wrong about my mother, but the way that, my mother got a lot of, I don't know how to say this, like attention and help was when she was playing the victim role. And fast forward to me wondering why I ended up in a lot of the relationships I ended up with. Like, my map was victimization, and I'm joking on this show, but I would end up with a lot of men that it was like, Captain, save the girl. Like I ended up with men that somehow had some unnecessary level of control or were steering me. And then in the end, in a way I didn't want to be steered because they were saving me because my map was victimization. That was something that I had to break. And then I went through a series of feeling like all men were like this. And then when I healed work, I'm still healing, worked through that. I don't meet men like that anymore at all. I don't meet men that want to save me anymore because I saved myself.
Yes, correct. But this is so juicy. Just so juicy. It's so
I'll
delicious.
slap myself under the blanket. It's fine.
So delicious, because a lot of women feel victimized without understanding that
you attract it.
They behave in a victimized way.
Correct.
They behave.
Correct.
Very often I can hear, I've been doing so much for my partner. I've been doing so much, going out of my way when I go out dating or with my husband. Why am I not receiving something, whatever that is?
Correct.
Or you are receiving something, but you are completely dismissing it because you are so focused on what is not enough. Because you yourself in some way don't feel enough. So you are looking at yourself and your relationship through that lens.
This is the equivalent of the way we train ourselves in business.
Yes.
We train ourselves like, it's very stupid simple, but it's very real, of like finding gratitude in what you are receiving in your business, so that you give and you kind of cast that lack and you create space to receive more.
Yes.
If you can't be appreciative for what you have in your existing relationship, good luck attracting or getting more.
It's impossible. It's impossible.
If you are poking at your partner.
If you are poking at your partner, because, and this is what we don't see, we get in these patterns and it's repetitive. You can see the same conversation, the same argument, the same blow-ups, the same avoidance. And you are not stopping yourself and asking yourself, what is happening over here? Why am I doing the same thing over and over? Why do we have the same conversation or similar conversations? And it's the same issue or it's the same challenge. Even in my dating, why am I dating the same type of a person with a different face? It's very hard to see that because we are just, it's an automatic behavior for us. So when we are very direct with our partners or men we are dating and we go after them and we tell them what we need and we tell them what we want, that type of approach works sometimes in business when we go after our goals and we set our, this is what we are after and this is what we are going to create. And we make the calls, we get it done, we achieve everything. And then we bring the same to the relationship, right? So this is how I want this relationship to look like, exactly like this. I want my dating to look, and then we have this amazing idea of perfectionism, how it will look like for me. And if it's not close to what I'm expecting, I am chasing you, or I'm just going to say there are no great men out there because the problem is outside of me. In our relationships of marriages, it looks like he doesn't know how to communicate. I need to change him. So you focus so deeply on your partner without looking at yourself first. So this is what happens in a lot of relationships with high achieving women because we are so smart. We are brilliant. Let me do this for you. Let me help you. Let me help you. We have lost as women.
This is not a business.
And also in business, when we have lost as women the art of flirtation, the art of openness, the art of being a woman. If I was speaking at an event and we had to move chairs so I can sit down if I feel like it. And I had women tell me, I can move this for you in a full room of men. And do you see, we lost the art of looking at a man and say, could you please move that chair for me? I would really appreciate that. I
know this to be true because I have been this. I still am breaking this. And I know too many women like this. Where did we get this thing that is like, there was like an era where we thought it was attractive that a woman could do everything. Like I even remember being in front of a man and being like, no, I can pay for it. Yes. No, I got it.
Yes.
No, I can move that.
Yes.
And there was something in us that, and I don't know when this changed or what happened, but I remember my girls and I being like this of like, it was almost a way to, where did we get stuck thinking that was a way to impress a man?
Well, you don't want to be a burden. I'm sure. You don't want to be a burden.
Look at me. I'm different.
Yes.
Look at me. I'm different.
You don't have to worry about me.
You don't have to worry about me.
I'm not
I
going
take
to
care
be
of myself.
Yes. I'm not going to be a nuisance. I'm not going to add to your already challenges that you are facing.
So instead of being sexually easy, I'm going to be technically easy to take care of.
Correct.
I'm easy.
But also a lot of women have this thinking that if a man pays and takes care of you, then you have to repay in a sexual way. Correct. Or you will feel guilty. And that's very low. So this is low vibration thinking. I really want to point out to this, because when we talked about behaviors and our beliefs, what is the energy you are giving out to the world when people are around you?
Yes.
Because when we talk about femininity and we talk about how can we be feminine in relationships, but also in business, it's not only what you do, it's who you are. What is your energy? When I'm around you, are you approachable? Are you soft? Correct? Because the question is, what do I do? What do I do? But it's not only what you do, but how you move when you enter the room. When you enter the room, what's the energy you are entering the room with? Do you enter the energy with, you better watch out, I will crash you.
I'm here to mosh it down.
I'm going to crash you, right? And
get out of my way.
Correct. And I don't say there is a right or wrong way to be a woman or a man. It's up to you what you decide. Correct. Because some high achieving women are happy with having a man that are home with kids and they are the providers.
Correct.
And who are we to say what's the nature? Yes, we can talk about this, the nature, the women, you know, should be always in the feminine and it's our true nature. Yes. But we also live in a world that is highly masculine.
Yeah.
If you look at the structure of corporation, how the corporate world looks like, women don't have maternity leave for maybe 1 week. How is that allowing you to be in your feminine?
At all.
At all. So
bring the baby to work.
Correct.
Literally.
Literally. Give it to the strangers. So we are so far. So we are so far removed from the natural way of living. We used to go to bed when
the sun went down.
Correct. From the natural cycles. We are very far removed in this very new way of living. And we've created this. We always think the more we evolve and create, you know, let's create a lamp. Great. Now we go to bed past our natural bedtime. So we are trying to create this feminine and masculine energy between men and women and within ourselves as women, because we do need masculine energy. I still need to be able to take care of my children, get them on time to school. And there are things I need to be really focused on and on time and in the containers.
Correct.
But let's not be foolish that as we are doing this, it is challenging because it's challenging the whole system. It's challenging the whole system when we live in a society when it's okay to work 24/7 and be told hustle, hustle, hustle. And I don't say don't do that, but also if you are told sleep 3 hours a day and you can function, no, you can't. Some people might, but not many of us can function. We burn out. So when we really look at what is the challenge of the modern woman who wants it all, we really need to look at our own patterns before we look at the man. We need to look at what are the behaviors and the feelings and what is my experience of life? How am I feeling in my own life? Do I feel constantly rushed? Do I feel constantly like I'm going from one thing to another? Do I feel anxious? Do I feel like I'm in a constant feeling state of stress? Because am I living intentionally? And that's hard for people to see, because if that's your autopilot, how do you even see that?
Your autopilot has so much to do with how you receive. It has so much to do. Like I've noticed, like I remember reading this and calling in the one, she was like, if your lens is love, you receive love. If your lens is chaos, you receive chaos. If you like, whatever you are, your natural state is what you receive from the world.
The natural state of how you were raised, because that's not your natural state. That's your state response. That's a response from
it's like your
environment
system.
Correct,
right.
Correct. So that's what you've received as a blueprint. And that's what you can call your natural state, but that's not your natural state, right? So, but it's hard to see when everything seems to be working. So what happens is for a lot of women, as you say, they arrive at divorce and maybe that's a wake-up call. Maybe they end up in postpartum depression. Like that was my wake-up call. What is going wrong? I have everything what I wanted and I feel completely depressed. And unhappy. I felt so unhappy. So I think it is very hard to notice that there is something wrong because you are being paid well for the things that we are told matter the most. Your wealth, your financial state, the car you drive, right? Your business growing, the people that are surrounding.
That a man don't care about.
Correct. And so we've been sold this bill of of what it really means to be a successful woman. And now I think we're in a phase of renegotiating that with ourselves. We are really renegotiating. A lot of high achieving women get to the point where, and it is sad, but it also very often happens that way. You really hit a wall when you are fighting with your partner, or there is something happening in your business, or you are feeling depleted and burned out, and that's your wake up call. Yeah. Or there is something in your parenting that you are struggling with, and your child, and you don't know how to figure it out, but you are still trying on your own because I'm brilliant and I'm smart, but I can't see my own, red flags. I'm unable to really notice within myself what is missing, that missing piece within myself. And so very often it comes to the point where you really hit the wall, and then you are looking for help, and then you are asking questions. But it takes, like in your own story, like in my own story, you felt something was wrong. I felt something was wrong for such a long time. And a lot of my clients, they operate in the state of hypervigilance or anxiousness. Yes. And something happens, and that is the last straw, and then they are looking for help. We are in a renegotiation of, I think with the feminist movement, we are very grateful for it. We can have bank accounts, we can buy a house. We are so independent, and thank God for that, because all of us, I think both men and women, we are right now in a healing and shifting space.
Correct.
Yes. And men need to be able to come more to their hearts, and women need to be able to come more to their hearts too, in a way that is more coming from the love for yourself instead of reactivity. So, right? Because we can be very all over the place emotionally, but then we are dumping. So both men and women, we are really in renegotiation, I think, phase right now. What does it mean to be a successful woman? What does it mean to be a man that is supportive, but also is a great partner and a great husband? And what is his role? Because so much shifted that I think both men and women are trying to figure this out right now. And there is nobody to blame, but we need to be very honest and open our eyes to what is happening. Because it's not women against men or men against the women. We really need to come together to figure this out. And understand that with the feminist movement, as much as we received, we also received the things that we don't want so much anymore. Meaning, I don't want to be hyper independent when I'm married and in relationship. I want to be able to surrender and look at my partner and trust you that you have my back and you can support me emotionally. That's the renegotiation.
Okay. You said a mouthful and I'm stuck. Hold on. Because... okay, so this is so true. We are in renegotiation, which what this also means is there's a lot to be said, and nobody knows the true answer. Nobody knows the true value. Nobody knows the true answer here. We're all kind of we're all in the figure it out phase, which makes so much sense. But I'm listening to that, and I'm thinking about this post that I saw where this girl is on Instagram, and this girl said, like, what's wrong with modern women? She was like, my best friend I grew up with, a male, has a $300,000 condo that overlooks the water. He has a great job. He has a great body. And he can't keep a girl past a month. Women keep bailing on him. Like, what's wrong with him? Or what's wrong with modern women? And y'all just want too much. And someone wrote back, like, because women need more than that. They need, is he emotionally supportive? Is all these things? And then the other problem is a woman can now do this for herself. A woman can now have a condo that overlooks the water, that provides her the life, that brings her peace and joy. So now she needs other things from a man. And I'm going to be honest with you. I heard you say, like, if I'm married, can I be emotionally supportive? And I'm thinking how ass backwards that sounds for men that were taught for decades and centuries to just be providers.
Yes. And that's why I also think, and I find so many more men are starting to do this work. And I see it with my own clients. If they are married, most often than not, at some point, when a man watches the transformation in his own wife, at some point she, in her feminine energy, inspires him to look for help. Because I think where women are at right now is, I will say that with love, But if you are a man and if you are emotionally unavailable, we are not doing that anymore. And so we can understand when it comes from, because there are a lot of women who are also unlearning how to be more vulnerable and how to be emotionally available. But when that was okay for so many decades for men to shut down and not speak up and not have the hard conversations and not to address what needs to be addressed.
And women to be obedient to it.
Correct.
Yeah.
We shifted from that dynamic.
Correct.
Women are tired of being in this spot of silence, not understanding what is happening in a relationship, not having the hard conversations that need to be had. Not many women are up for that anymore, to be in a relationship where something is not going well and you as a man choose to just shut down or shut her down. So that's where we are at. I think this is the time, I think, for both women to learn how to let go of being so protective of their hearts. But the same is for men right now. The same is for men. How do I open up? And you don't have to become a woman to be able to support me. But there needs to be foundation of, if I'm as a woman say, this is how it feels for me. Hey, babe, what I just heard doesn't feel great for me. And if you shut down and you cannot have this moment with me, it becomes problematic. Add the kids to the equation that are very emotional and they are figuring out the world. We need to be able to hold space for all the emotions in some way. You don't have to be my girlfriend, because I have my girlfriends as a woman.
Correct.
To have conversations that, you know, I need to have. If I'm
my best friend.
Yes. He is in many ways, but
yes,
he's not my girlfriend.
No.
He's not my girlfriend.
He doesn't want to hear about your body shaming.
No.
He doesn't want to hear about the shoes you bought.
It's
call your friend. Call
your friend. And also when you are in a tough situation, maybe with your partner, and I say, don't talk about your partner to your friends, but you can still talk about him, but how you talk about him, right?
Matters.
Correct. How you express yourself really matters. Hold yourself to a higher standard, how you communicate. For example, there is something happening within your relationship and you need some support, let's say, right? Call your friend and say, I really need your support right now, but from a loving space. This is where I'm struggling. And I just need you to be loving with me, not to bash him, but...
And I'm not understanding his side, and I'm looking for an unbiased opinion.
Correct.
Can you
help?
Maybe you see something I don't.
Before I go and talk to him.
Correct.
You also have to have the skills to help yourself. To trust your own knowing and understanding what is happening in the situation. It's okay. It's life. This is life. This is literally life. This is life. So do you see, we as women, if we are high achievers, this is, I think, what is happening. If you married before doing any internal work on yourself, on how to love myself well, how to recognize my patterns, you get married, and then what I see with a lot of high achievers, or you attract a man that is not as successful as you or not as motivated. So you are pulling the marriage, you are pulling the business, you are doing everything in all aspects of your life. And at some point you are done. Right. And that's why you get a divorce. Or sometimes
you martyred your way through the relationship.
Correct. But what I see problematic is that if you are encountering any challenges in relationships or dating, get some support. I don't understand how this is so normal to pay for mentorship and masterminds in business. You will pay, you will put the time, the energy, everything, whatever is needed, you will do it on a weekend at night. But when it comes to relationships and your heart and your healing, it's like secondary or almost at the end of the list. But when you talk to women, what do you want? I want love and I want connection and I want to feel calm and content. Why aren't you investing in that? Why aren't you investing in that? Because it's a skill.
It is.
Those are sets of skills and understandings.
We think because we've seen our families that are married and have been in
Yeah.
relationships before, we should know how to do this. This should come natural. This should be the natural part of life.
So look
And
at
how
your
it-
family. How natural was that? Do you want to repeat the same family dynamics that you've experienced? That's the question. When I look at my mom, I love my mom. But then when my dad died, I don't know how their relationship was. I think it was great. But her second relationship after that, I didn't want that. So where can I learn how a normal relationship, let's say how a relationship looks like when it's healthy communication, when it's healthy conflict resolution. I don't say perfect, but healthy, intentional, more conscious. And let's not be confused. When we say conscious, it doesn't mean we are all now enlightened and we are constantly conscious, because we are not. We are not ever 100%. We are always elevating. Right. We are always learning, and we are always finding new ways of looking at ourselves and the world. So let's be honest, nobody's, enlightened to the level that your work is done.
Correct.
But you can become more aware and more conscious and more intentional, 100% more intentional in your relationship. So because I wanted to be happily married, I needed to learn how to love well, but how to love myself well first before I love anybody else. Because if I don't love myself well, how will I love my partner well? And my kids? No idea.
I want to talk about the signs, and we've mentioned them earlier, but I do want to talk about the signs in dating and in marriage, how you may know that you are searching for and seeking for a deeper connection. But first, I want to point out how you talked about like this renegotiation and men getting more in tune with their heart space and women getting more in tune with their heart space. And to me, that's like crystal clear. But I'm thinking about this conversation that's probably brewing outside of the hyper masculine men that are probably like, you guys want men to be more soft, and you want us to communicate, and you want us to be women. You said that earlier.
No, I do not want to be married to a woman. And because I'm heterosexual woman, so there are women who want to be correct. Right. And you know what we are talking about?
But you want me to be soft too.
In any type of a relationship, correct. So if I'm married, and I'm speaking of heterosexual relationships right now, but I also think in any type of relationship you will have both parties that do want to be heard and understood. The basic needs in any type of relationship is to be heard, to be understood, to be loved, to be accepted as I am, and be able to be expressed fully as I am. As I am, without the need to change and be different. So we all have that. Men have that need as well. Correct? So no, I don't need you to be like my girlfriend, but what I do yearn and desire is the ability that you have as a man to sit with me when I need to have a conversation, when I need to connect on emotional level, because you have that ability as well, because you are human. It doesn't matter if you are a man as a woman, you are human. And living through the heart is so dismissed for men. And for women, we are just protecting ourselves. So this is, I think, the space we are growing in right now, how to connect through the heart, because we are so great to, in our connection through our logical brain and our analytical brain. But there is limitation to that. There's limitation to connecting only through our analytical thinking. Because analytical thinking and analytical brain, if we come from the primitive brain, it will always seek pleasure, avoid pain, and conserve energy, right? So if I don't understand how to get out from my survival brain to more of this prefrontal cortex, when I can make logical decisions and they are in the best interest of my intentional life and intentional relationships, most often we will make decisions from the primitive brain and survival that tell us to avoid pain, seek pleasure, and conserve energy.
I'm sitting here thinking about two people in a partnership, like just a man and a woman, and them both being in that state, and why there's no heart-centered, love-sharing. Like there's nothing in the middle, because you're talking about two people that are in survival, that are working off their logical brain, that are not connected to their heart. Like, and this is also similar to the conversation we've had around like a partnership, and then also being in business. Like you take all of the, you suck everything out of it. It's dry. It literally becomes nothing but a logical and that primitive, that survival brain conversation between two people that are supposed
primitive
to
won't be primitive. If we respond from primitive brain, that's not even logical, because that's just literally in my survival. So if I'm in a relationship that isn't serving me, or if I am in a relationship that I see some patterns that I would love to change, let's say, or address, but I'm not addressing them, because if I know that addressing them will shift
Shake-
the dynamic,
shake
shake
shit up.
something up. Yes. And I don't want to, it's scary because this is working. It's painful, but it's working in some way. And I am used to already now to operate in this dynamic. Now,
Yeah.
if I admit to myself,
This is better than the pain of change.
correct. This is
Yep.
better than the pain of change. Correct. So that's very, as we say, we now trained ourselves. Our brain is online with this dynamic,
Yeah.
whatever's happening. I already know how to respond to you if you shut down. I already know. We've practiced this dance already. I'm trained. I am trained.
Yeah.
The neural pathways are set up.
Yes.
Perfect.
I know
So
how to survive this relationship.
I know how to survive
Yep.
in this environment. And with this person, with this closeness, or with this avoidance and this spaciousness in this space, right? So
Mhm.
in this time frame. Perfect. Now I see there is something not working. And I feel this pull, like I need to have this conversation, or I need to bring it at least to myself and my own awareness first and accept that there is something off. It requires a lot of energy. It might be painful, and for sure it will not feel like pleasure.
Mm-mm.
You see? So that's why the intentional change is demanding of us to really step up and choose ourselves. How can I keep choosing myself, my highest self, the inner knowing that I can have a better relationship, that I can feel better in my life, that my life doesn't have to feel like struggle, or that I'm spread thin, or I can only be successful in my professional life, but over here, it's not going to go well.
I think you're pointing that out, but can you just expand on that? I'm like,
Mhm.
especially when I know you've coached women that are in
Mhm.
marriages 10, 12, 15
Mhm.
years,
Mhm.
that find that it is time for a shift.
Mhm.
Or women that are dating
Mhm.
and they're like, I know that was me. I was like,
Mhm.
I'm dating the same man with a different face
the
over and
different-
over
yeah.
and over.
Mhm.
What are some of the things that you feel you see? Because what couldn't come to me immediately was like, I need to change me. I need to change my patterns. I need to change my behaviors. I'm very clear on that now.
Mhm.
But at the time, it was just like, all these men are the same.
Yes.
I'm
It's
dealing with the
him.
same patterns in my
Mhm.
relationship. Like,
Mhm.
it's him.
Mhm.
So what are some of the signs that you see in women in both dating and in marriages where they're really just seeking a deeper connection to themselves so they can operate from that state in dating or in relationships?
Yes, and the first question that comes to mind is, how do I even know that I need the deeper connection to myself if I haven't experienced that before in my childhood? So depending on how, again, we were parented.
Yep.
Right? So it comes back to that. And so the signs are very often, as you already mentioned, if you are dating the same type of men, the same type of pattern, the same type of dynamic over and over again. It's just the body changes and the face changes, but the energy of this relationship is the same. The energy of communication is the same. Right? So I have a lot of clients who date emotionally unavailable men.
Mm-hmm.
Very high achievers. On the paper, it looks amazing. Look at, the financial wealth.
That was me, because you can take care of me.
Yes, you can take care
Yeah.
of me. You
You
can,
can
yes,
save
you can
me.
provide for me. You can save
Yes.
me. Correct.
Yeah.
All the things.
Yep.
But the emotional component was missing, right? And so you engage in those relationships, and then you are starving inside because you become so anxious and so dry within yourself, because I want the connection and I desire deep, deep, deep intimacy.
Right.
That's beyond sex and
But
sensuality.
I have not
That's
had that intimacy
you
within
feel
myself
me,
yet.
correct? But you don't have that with yourself.
Yes.
So what happens often when we work through that, and we'll come back to the science, but when we work through that, when you shift as a woman, it doesn't only shift in your relationship with men, but you see a shift in your professional life too, because you have been chasing the worthiness in all the wrong places. I'm chasing the worthiness in my dating, and I'm chasing the
Don't talk to me.
worthiness.
Talk to the camera, because they need to hear this shit right now.
When you find yourself overextended, burnt out, or just anxious, unhappy, or reactive, you need to really check in with yourself. If you are looking for feeling of worthiness, contentment, confidence in all the wrong places, because no man, no business, no career, no amount of money, I will repeat this, no lifestyle will really support you in this deep, intimate connection and knowing that I'm worthy if you don't provide that for yourself within first. When you shift within, not only your relationships and the men you date change, but also you start seeing, oh, I had a client just lately and she's been working so much before she worked with me. She was burned out constantly. And now because she has been doing the work, she says, Ludmila, I have been offered such an amazing opportunity. And I said no, because I have more to life than just my professional life right now. And I have other goals. And I don't want to end up burnt out again or committing to something just because I think this title
is the thing.
Because now I understand I am the one
thing.
I've been
I'm the
one that I've been looking for. I am the one I have been looking for. So in dating, what you see is, if you look for sign, is look at all your past relationships. What do they have in common? What do you see as a pattern? Where do you overextend yourself? Where are you the chaser?
I love when people are like, I never get what I want.
Correct.
I can never keep a partner. I always get cheated on. I'm like,
correct.
You ever figure out why?
You get cheated. Yes, you get cheated on. And very often I'm cheated on because maybe your father cheated and your mom normalized that and that was normal for you. So that's your blueprint. And now, unfortunately, unconsciously, you choose the same type of... And if your mom stayed with your dad when he was cheating because of the financial wealth and support and the cars and the bags and all the lifestyle, a lot of women... Two options. You will engage in the same type of relationship with a man that will give you everything but will cheat, or you become hyper independent and you will get your cars, your bags, your savings, your lifestyle. Correct, because you are ready. If something happens, you can leave.
Yep.
And I don't say for women, don't get the money, don't create the wealth. I'm all for create the wealth, support yourself until... right? You get the partnership that you want, and then you can decide and renegotiate, how much do I want to work? Is it still the same priorities for me or not? And if I do want to work and I still want to make X amount of money, how do I do it in a way that is serving me and is not coming from this deep space of unworthiness? Because that's what I find with a lot of clients. You can look so confident. You even on some level think you are, on some level. But the moment we start coaching, it's all out there.
I really want to dive into this from a person who has experienced this for a second. And we're going to get a little TMI here. You are the person that you are looking for.
You are.
I am telling you, you are the person that you are looking for. To go from a year ago, thinking that every man was just another replication of the previous patterns. And I was just like, I almost for a second was like, I should have kept my evil. And that's a comment, but like, what wasn't working, I should just go back to that, because that is better than what I'm dealing with. And thinking that was my future.
Yes.
And then seeking myself. And I mean relentlessly, and finding out what those things were for me, like the journaling in the morning, the meditation in the morning, the time outside in the morning, the affirming myself in the morning, like the dancing in the morning, the gratitude. Like I have learned that in the first hour of the day, I sat on my balcony the other day and thought, I was so happy. And I was like vibrating so high. That I was like, this feels similar to an orgasm.
Yes.
I was like,
yes.
And I had this moment of like, I feel so bad for the man that I will spend my future with, but not in a bad way. I was just like, because it's got to be as good as this.
Correct.
Because this is amazing.
But I
can give myself that.
Yes.
And I'm not talking a physical orgasm. I am talking like, I felt so high.
Yes.
That I was like, I can feed myself this. Oh my God. And then what I have found from that is I was so wrong. My lens was capped. Like, I feel like it's like a camera, and then you're like, shit, I couldn't see because I had to take the lens off. Like,
the lens was all dirty.
The lens was filthy. Smeared. It was wrong. It was the wrong angle, because now every man I meet, I'm like, oh, they're all amazing. And it's like, because I poured into myself so intimately, it's like my expectations changed. The way I see the world changes. It goes back to that mirror.
Your standards changed.
My standards
Your
changed.
standards were from here to here.
Yes.
And what is the standard for yourself? Again, what do I accept in my life? What do I accept in my life? What have I agreed to accept in my life? And when you say you're vibrating and you say it's not like an orgasm, but it is like an orgasm.
It was like one.
Because this is, again, we as women, through everything, through how we change in a society, we are so disconnected from our bodies and from our sensuality and sexuality. It's such a powerful energy to not only have orgasms and fantastic sex life, but it's a creative energy.
Yes.
Creative energy. When you know how to be fully expressed sexual and sensual woman, let me tell you, ideas flow.
And you
vibrate.
You use that energy?
Yes.
Oh, I get off that couch and I come to my house and I'm like, ooh.
Correct.
And I sit down at my desk and I'm like, let's go.
You see? And this is the energy you show up with. And when we say what do I do to be in a feminine woman in business? What is your energy you bring into the meeting? And it doesn't mean that you have to be flirtatious, but you can. Where the flirtatious became a problem, where you being playful became a problem. This is part of being a woman, me being playful. Without taking it to sex.
Right.
How can I use that energy? Because that's the gift of being a woman. We lost the touch with what makes me why do I have hips? Why can I move those ways? Why women carry so much of trauma and unprocessed pain in their hips, around our womb? This is our womanhood, right? But there is so much that we've been fed around how it's bad to be sexually expressed and sensual woman. That's shameful, right? You cannot be too much of that. You have, as a woman, you can be only this or only that. You can be all of this. And so I think we are also in this timeline of reconnecting to our bodies and our sensuality and our sexuality, because as much as we do work on our analytical, logical level and our nervous system level, we also do this embodiment work through breath work. Breath work is beautiful. Beautiful. Through dance. There's so many different techniques when you work with your body and you open to energy, and your heart and your spirit. So I think we are really trying to figure out as women right now, what does it mean to be a woman even?
Yes.
Instead of,
because
I will compete with you like a man because I'm, that's another thing.
I will compete with you like a man.
Like a man. Because I believe that's what I've been fed, because, when women came to workplace, it was all men. So how do I survive that? Well, let me become like them. So let's compete. And we lost the gift of being the woman, the sensual, even in the settings of your workplace. If you would come to a man in your workplace and say, I have this brilliant idea. I've been thinking about this and those are my thoughts. And what do you think? What most men would do? They would support you.
They would help to validate it.
Yes.
They would love to validate
But what
it.
do we do as women?
Forceful.
Oh no, I will tell you what we will be doing. I will be forceful and I will overpower you, because that's how it works.
A man does.
Yes. And that's how it works. And I don't say that it will work everywhere, because as we know, there is healing to be done. But with most men, it will work.
It will.
It will work, because they do want to help you. They do want to be the hero. They do want to be seen as, I am supportive and I'm helpful and I provide solutions.
I want to point out what you just said, because that was something that I took on hearing it for a man and then realized it was the same for me. Is like, years ago, I went to an intuitive with my former partner, and I remember her explaining that there are many men on earth that are, just go with me for a second, meant to be flirtatious. And she said, because when they have a deep purpose on this earth, they do consume energy through connecting with multiple women. She said, but let me be clear. They're fed through feeding women.
Mhm.
So validating their ideas,
Mhm.
teaching them, talking to them.
Mhm.
But the job that they have
Mhm.
is to consume that energy
Mhm.
and then go disperse it out into the world
Mhm.
in creative ways.
Mhm.
The problem is that
Mhm.
when men have that connection with women and they're
Mhm.
pouring into them in
Mhm.
some way, they feel the need to penetrate all of them.
Mhm.
And then they deplete that energy
Mhm.
instead of putting it in a form
Mhm.
into the creative world,
Mhm.
they deplete that energy through a sexual experience. And that energy, when used correctly
Mhm.
and disciplined, turns into
Correct.
very powerful creative
Correct.
and leadership
Just like
energy.
with women, but I want you to see just like with us
I have
women.
learned that with
Mhm.
myself is I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
this is not just for men. This is for
Mhm.
women. When I feel myself and I'm like
Yes.
vibrating at this wildly high
Yes.
energy, I also
Mhm.
notice I'm like, I could choose to
Mhm.
deplete this energy through
Yes.
a sexual experience, or I
Or-
could discipline
Mhm.
and tell this energy
Mhm.
where to go.
Mhm.
And I have this wild,
Mhm.
creative, flowy
Mhm.
experience. And then I'll stop and I'm like, this is the femininity I want.
Mhm.
This is the femininity I want. But society has made me feel like I need to deplete or express
Yes.
that energy
Mhm.
immediately through a
Mhm.
sexual experience. And when you
Mhm.
kind of
hold, yes,
hold it,
yes, and then you
like
use
breath.
it and use it in creative ways.
Yes.
That's how you create so many amazing things in the world. But we've lost the touch, as you say. Sex became such a
Transaction.
product again.
Yep.
Product. Like we become products, the sex become products. Everything is check to be done. That's again an art of seduction, an art of, like Esther Perel says, your next orgasm starts at the end of the last one. So that's what I say. The playfulness, how do we bring that back into the relationships? But not only relationships, how do we bring it back so we are more creative, that we can give to ourselves?
I'm smiling so hard because I love the way I feel when I'm like this.
I know.
I'm going to sound so wild, but I'm turning myself on when I'm like that.
Correct. But let me tell you
I'm
this.
like, girl, look at you.
Yes, but I think there were studies done and they asked, what turns your partner on? A man. What turns your man on? And I even asked my husband and he says, when I see you in your element, when you are doing your thing, when you are speaking, when you are podcasting, when you are dancing, and you are just into yourself, turns him on. Correct. But for a woman often, and I don't say always, for a
turned
woman,
off when a man is into himself.
No, when we are into ourselves. So for a woman, it's interesting. Most, I don't say all, because, right? But when you are turned on by yourself, when you feel confident within yourself, when you have this energy like, I'm a goddess, look at me, I'm fantastic, that turns you on.
Yes.
Towards your partner.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So for women, when you as a woman feel blocked within yourself, when you feel not happy about your body, when you are not fulfilled, when your vibration of energy is low, it's very hard for you to connect sexually and sensually to your partner because you are not connected to yourself.
My connection to myself could literally take me anywhere, confidently walk me into any room. Like, it's a different version of me. It's almost a problem. Like, not a problem, but I'm like, wow, you thought you were going to find this in more money? You thought you were going to find this in a man? You had this all along.
Yes, you have it all along.
Like, I literally am impressed with myself in those moments. And I'm
so
like,
happy for
where
you.
do I take this energy and where do I go? And there's
what
been
do
so
I
many
do with it?
times where now I sit down at the desk and I'm like, ooh,
I need a
start
notepad.
writing.
Yes.
I start writing and I'm like, damn,
yes.
this is good.
Yes.
It's redirecting that energy. And it's a goddess energy.
Because you are present to yourself. You slow down and you are present. It's like yummy, delicious. That's what I find. It's
She
like
always
so
uses these
delicious and luxurious experience of being in
Yes.
myself. And that's exactly what women need, because we are so focused on do. Next goal, children, partners, dating, what's next on my to-do list. And so where are we in our bodies? That's why, like, where is the connection to yourself? So that's another shift that is happening with all modern women. We want to be feeling more on fire. We want to feel more alive. How to do that? How to become that even? It's so foreign because all I do is I'm analytical and I'm in my brain. You need to get out of your brain. You need to get out of your head, get in your body, right? So that's what is happening with women as well. But I just remembered we didn't finish the list of the tips, how do you notice in dating or marriage or relationships where something is off and you need to look at yourself. So in dating, I think it's so clear when you date the same type of people and the same, you are the chaser, or it's not working out when you feel it's the man. That's like a huge red flag. It's the man. They are the problem. I can't find anyone. Look at me being successful. Dating apps suck. Like, it will never happen for me. I can only be successful in my professional life. When you are in a relationship, very often you will have the same type of conversations or the same type of arguments or frictions on repeat. You're like the same. You're like, what is happening? That's your sign. If you are feeling depleted, that's your sign. If you are not feeling motivated, you say, Miwa, nothing motivates me. I'm so everything feels blech. I have this great house, great husband, whatever it is. I don't know. Feels like it. But something is off. Yes. I'm not feeling myself. I'm not feeling fulfilled. I'm not having this. It's like the same. Every day is like, I get up and I don't know.
Yeah.
Is this? That's your invitation. That's your invitation. Because if you as a woman, and let me be clear, when we talk about vibration and energy, you will not always feel so high, meaning if somebody dies, somebody gets sick, something happens in your business, you will have shifts within the energy.
I do not feel like a goddess when my son is sick.
Correct.
I got things to do and I'm cleaning up snot.
Correct.
Agreed.
And that requires a lot of you to give and support and be the caregiver. Now I'm not a goddess,
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. It helps sometimes. I was dancing with my client on our coaching call. She's a mom and she said, Ludmila, I'm so depleted. And I said, we need to get up right now.
Yes.
We need to get up. We went into specific breath techniques and then we danced on a call. And within 5 minutes, she was more energized. So there are ways to still support yourself.
Correct.
And let's be honest, sometimes we are spread thin. So it means we need to be also more intentional. Ask for help. My beautiful, high-achieving women, ask for help because it's a sign of strength, not weakness. Find your community. Create this because we need it. Women that are in relationships, what I find often is very often their partners are great, or there are partners that do want to support their women. It's not like toxic environment, most of my clients, if they have disagreements, the husbands still want to work it out and are supportive in many ways. So it's mostly us figuring it out. And if the husband needs support, what happens? My clients finish working with me or are working with me, and then their partners start working with me as well because they finally understand something needs to change.
Well,
but
I love
you
that.
are an inspiration as a woman. Do you see?
That's what I'm pointing out. I'm like, stop trying to change your man.
Yes.
If you focus, this all goes back to this energy that we are capable of connecting to and seeking yourself. If you seek yourself in a marriage or not, or in a relationship or in dating, you will attract or inspire whatever it is you need from a partner.
Seek yourself and really start creating connection with yourself that goes beyond the materialistic way of experiencing life.
Correct.
Because you are a soul, you are a spirit, you are a heart, you are an emotional, physical being. There is so much more to you than just this materialistic life. And let's be honest, we live in this world, so we need to be able to navigate that. But I think when we just look through the lens of this world, it's very limiting.
Yes.
It is very limiting.
Yes.
The energy, you have to work with the energy, because without work with the energy, you will be stuck. You will be stuck on this level energetically.
Yes.
You can, when I hear people say, just think better thoughts. But if energetically and emotionally I'm stuck on this level, all the thinking by itself will not take me to the next level. I need to be using my body. I need to be using meditation, breath work, dance. There are so different ways. Sexual energy, orgasms, like practicing how to be with yourself,
Sexually.
having an orgasm.
Correct.
Right. And it's very regulating to our nervous system for women that didn't experience any sexual abuse. Because if you did, then it's the work that needs to be done to heal that, because your body doesn't feel safe to experience orgasm, right?
I've also never sat so confidently in those experiences as well. Like, I'm like not afraid of that either anymore.
But
so,
before you were more self-conscious, like
self-conscious.
this
This is weird. This is awkward. No,
this
it's
is
not.
weird. This is, Yeah, because you haven't felt this level of self-acceptance
Yes.
where you say like, I can have cellulite and I don't care. Like, I love myself with all of this extras on, right? Because it's
Yes.
beautiful. So it's such a beautiful journey. And I think, as I say, we need to really shift how we think about women and men to coming together and navigating this together, because both sexes are now in a shift how to do it better. And I think we as women, we are such brilliant, beautiful, magnificent, like inspirational beings, not only to men and to the world, but to ourselves. And the more you can connect to that power within yourself, the better your life becomes.
I want to wrap with this. I remember being at Innovative Income, and a couple weeks later having a conversation with someone that was like, man, you're so powerful in that space, which is the women's event that we hold annually that we have put a pause on. And they were like, you're so powerful in that space. Like they basically were like, you have so much power. Why would you step away from that? And I remember thinking, I remember when that power and authority mattered a lot to me, but I could care so little about that now because I want more of this energy. I do not care how many people on planet Earth validate my voice or how powerful or impactful I am. Yes, purpose matters. But the energy I feel that when I am deeply connected to myself is unmatched. I'd rather have more than that, more of that, than I would stand on these stages and have this temporary, it's literally like a temporary orgasm.
Temporary, temporary.
It's like
a jerk off.
It's, it's microwave.
Like a jerk off.
Yeah, it is like
it's
quick,
like fast
everyone
dopamine
loves
hit.
me. I'm great. Boost of confidence, pow pow, and then that's it. But this connection, I'm like willing to be so quiet in my life right now to experience more of this because no one else can give me this. I am in control of this.
And that is real pleasure instead of short-term lived fake pleasure, let's say.
Yes.
Because if you do this at the expense, right? Like the events were amazing and you are such a powerful speaker. You really are. And at the same time, if you ask yourself a question, if I keep doing those events right now, is it at the expense of
my connection to myself?
And if
because I was seeking other people, I wasn't seeking myself.
You were not seeking yourself. And listen, we've all been there at some point. We have all been there at some point. So it's understandable. But as you say, now when you are in the space of, I know how it feels to be so deeply connected to myself first and what this pleasure, real pleasure, feel like.
Yes.
It's not a second. No. It's not a split second.
No.
Look at your smile. No. It's so different, right?
Yes.
It's like the fake pleasure with food and alcohol and porn and social media, everything else. It gives you a fast dopamine hit. And, wow, I'm getting I'm like yes, I'm up. I got a prize for 2 seconds. I'm feeling great. And then you hit the low again because you don't have this innate ability to love yourself and have pleasure within or create pleasure within that you don't need anybody else for. And when you are in that space, you know everything else is an add-on. And when you are vibrationally on that level, everything that comes in your space, men, friends, opportunities, is on very different level. Different.
I keep saying, when you choose yourself like ruthlessly, the people that you work with attract. It is just next level, period.
You don't even have to worry, you know, when you are in this scarcity and fear, you worry so much. I don't want to end up alone and I want my marriage to work out. And it's more fearful kind of a being.
Yeah.
But when you know that you are what you are looking for, when you really feel that, embody that, like deeply, visceral level, energetically, you know that, you don't even have to worry about this because you being in a world, if you want to find love or be in a relationship or improve your marriage or your relationship, it just happens.
I used to be so attached to things.
Yes.
And now I'm attached to nothing. And it's because I trust myself and love myself and trust my intuition so immensely that it's like nothing can be wrong because either way it's right.
Because whatever's
happening is for me right now. It does not matter.
Whatever happens, and whatever happens, I know how to be through that and with that.
Yes.
It doesn't define me. it means nothing about me.
I feel like we just had this incredible conversation with each other, and we just kind of let you guys sit in
Oh.
on it.
I even didn't look at the camera. I know. I'm looking at you all the time.
I can't stop staring at you.
Yes, because this is, we as women, I really wish for all of you women to get to that place within yourself when you think about yourself and you feel yourself. You can feel yourself. Like, I feel myself.
Yeah.
Feels amazing. Where you look at yourself and you think, you are the best thing that have ever happened to me. And everything else is an add-on.
Correct.
I want all of you to be able to get to that space within yourself, because from there, everything expands and elevates.
And with that,
Mhm.
we will close this episode. Tell them where they can learn more and find more about you, because this is incredible. You are one of the people, one of the few people that have helped me get to this place. And I thank you immensely for that. It has been such a beautiful experience. And I thank you for that. And I want you guys, I mean it when I say this, I want you guys to experience this too. It has changed so much of me, but in the best way. I'm experiencing that now, where everyone around me is like, you're so different now. You've changed. Your energy's different. And I'm like, I love it here. I love it here.
I love it here. Yeah.
So
I love
tell people
myself.
where they can find you, where they can listen to Deeply Connected, the podcast,
Yes.
and where they can find out more about working with you, because you are absolutely incredible.
So first of all, I receive all of this. I receive all your love. It makes me feel just so warm. Like within my heart, I feel so just like a giggly, you know, small kid. Like I'm just feeling very excited to see you in that space and also acknowledge. I love that. Thank you. You can find me at my website, Ludmila, www.ludmilawoodruff.com. Also, I have a podcast, Deeply Connected, on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. And you can find me on social media, Ludmila Woodruff, and sign up for my waitlist. And we'll get in touch.
Guys, I hope this episode was helpful. Ludmila, thank you so much for the vulnerability and being willing to talk about orgasms online with me.
I love orgasms. By the way, before we finish, I know I said we did, but I heard another thing, that men think women don't like sex so much as men do.
That's insane.
That is insane. And if you are a woman and you feel tired or not excited about that part of your experience, let me tell you, there is more to explore.
Way more.
Way more.
I'm not even going to go there, but there's way more.
Way more, ladies.
There's way more. You were amazing. Thank you so much, guys. I hope this was helpful. I hope this really helped you understand more of what you're craving, and that you are seeking you in this journey, and how simply seeking you can change your partnerships, your relationships, and even your business. Believe it or not. I know you don't want to believe it, but you can be ladylike. You can be a freaking lady. You can be feminine in your business. You can seek yourself and watch all the things around you change. So, Ludmila, thank you.